Hey y'all, my name is Angelica Rubio, State Representative for District 35, representing the City of Las Cruces here in Doña Ana County, and this is a brief update. It's not brief, actually, I apologize. Over the weekend, I wrote this op-ed, and it was published in the Albuquerque Journal, and I've been getting a lot of questions about what's really going on with this project, people feeling like they're being like things aren't being fully transparent, and I totally get why. And so I'm going to try to explain that as much as I can. The county and the developers have been moving really fast, and people keep getting told, like, don't worry, they've got it handled. This isn't really about whether or not they have it handled. It's really about whether or not we, the people who live here, who pay the bills, who send our kids to public schools, get a real say on what this 30-year deal means for our county and the communities that are here. And so what is Project Jupiter? So Project Jupiter is a project that is being proposed by a large corporation, and it's set to be in Sunland Park if this deal is approved. And what it is there are 4 huge AI data center buildings and a private power system that is being proposed in the Santa Teresa area. And in order for it to happen, the developers want the county to approve, get this, a $165 billion industrial revenue bond. It would be the largest in the county's history. And let me just be frank by saying it's not like the county's just going to give the money up front. Like they're not writing a check if approved. What it means, it's basically a giant tax credit. So instead of paying normal property taxes like you would think a corporation would do, and they would do that for decades, the company instead pays smaller negotiated payments called payments in lieu of taxes, which in other words are called pilots. Those are usually way less than paying full taxes. And the pitch is that if you give them a break now, they'll bring jobs later and everything's going to be awesome. But there's no guarantee that that the benefits make up for what we're willing to give away. And so you have families and small businesses who pay every dime on time when it comes to taxes, with penalties if they fall behind, while you have corporations like this one who will get decades of breaks based on solely a promise that they might bring jobs. I've heard some folks compare this to like spaceport and other things, which I don't think it's the same mechanics. With the spaceport, we gave money up front, the state and the counties. This is much more long-term in terms of like what will happen to future tax revenue. I think what's really important though around the comparison is that the pattern is very similar, and it's very similar also to like oil and gas industry, where they come in, they drill, and then they leave like abandoned oil wells that we later have to take care of. It's always at the risk. We're always giving away all these tax breaks with the idea that we might bring jobs, but it's always at the communities are the ones that are always having to bail these corporations out. That is the pattern that we're seeing here. Now that's just the tax piece. The piece that's really hitting home for me is the issue related to water. These data centers, and I don't have to tell you, is that they use a ton of water in order to cool the servers. The company is saying that they are going to use this system that's called a closed loop system, which means that it's a huge initial fill of water and less loss, and which they're saying is less loss over time. But what they haven't said is how much that fill up is going to actually be in the beginning, and what's going to happen like when they have to over time, when we have to actually like top it off. And then we don't actually know where that actual water is coming from. Like they haven't told us that. So we don't even know how much water they're going to be using for this. Meanwhile, if you all haven't heard, is that Sunland Park has lived with arsenic in their tap water for years. Folks have had to buy bottled waters. They've had to haul jugs of water from around the county to just have drinking water at home. And they still have to pay some of the highest water bills in the entire state. And so if there's water for a private server farm, we haven't seen any guarantee of safe, affordable water for the people who have been boiling and buying water for their kids for years. Outside of just the water issue, there's the issue of around energy. And so AI centers are electricity hogs. They waste a lot of electricity. And this one, we're being told, will be run, this one can run its own microgrid and still claim zero carbon compliance, even if it burns gas, as long as it sits under certain limits. So let me explain that. Right now, we have standards here in New Mexico that we are trying to transition ourselves away from oil and gas. In order to get there, we have to hit certain benchmarks throughout the next few years to ensure that we are zero emissions. Like, we're still not where we should be, but we have these benchmarks that we've laid out. They're trying to say that even if they burn gas, as long as emissions sit under these certain limits, they're actually zero, they will be zero carbon compliant. And y'all, that might technically still be legal under New Mexico statute, but that still doesn't give us a straight answer. It doesn't tell us how much our energy bills are going to go up, what's the strain going to be on our electrical grid, or more importantly, and it's very important to me, is how does this move us away from our dependence on fossil fuel when we should be transitioning at this point? I think outside of the power issue, the energy issue, and the water issue, and the tax break issue, obviously, is the issue related to transparency. This whole process has not been built on trust at all. Meetings have been announced, they have been canceled. Others have been rescheduled with little notice. As I mentioned earlier, there have been documents that have been redacted. And that has been very problematic in terms of like building that community trust. And today is Monday, September 8th, y'all. The vote is scheduled for September 19th on what could be the largest tax deal in the county's history, while basic questions have been left unanswered. Here's what I'm asking you to do because of all of this is, one, I need you all to show up to this meeting if you can. But more importantly, between now and the September 19th date, I need you to contact, call, or email your county commissioners. You can go to the Doña Ana County website and you can find all those details there. You need to demand a no vote on this project unless they do the following things, and we need these things in writing. The first thing is how much water does the system need and who has the priority in a drought? I think we are in a drought, y'all. Like, we don't know how much water we actually have in the state because nobody wants to like support this idea of mapping our water. It's like a long story related to water, but we don't even know how much water we have in the state, and now we're being told that this project is going to require water. Like, how much water? What's going to happen if this drought gets worse? Will families be prioritized when we need this water, or will this corporation get it first? The second thing is, what is going to fuel the microgrid, and what is it going to do to our energy costs? That has also not been clear on any of that, and so we need some language around that. The third thing is related to jobs. They're saying that they're going to create hundreds and hundreds of jobs here locally, but we don't know anything about exactly how many jobs, what are the wages to these jobs, are they going to be union jobs? Like, we don't know any of this stuff. Will there be penalties on this corporation if they don't reach these benchmarks that they've set out? More importantly, I haven't seen anything about building a community benefits agreement with residents. That hasn't been clear. Y'all, we need full transparency, and I'm running out of time, but please, these demands, anyone wait Got this. Make them prove it. Peace out.